Hello everyone and welcome to the Smashi Business Show. Today is Wednesday, March 25, 2025, the last week of Ramadan and also the last week of March and also the last week of quarter one of 2024. The first 3 months rushed away, but we'll tell you all about it. My name is Abdul Majid Awan.
And I am Ward Ahmed. Now I know that, by the way, schools took a vacation, a 2-week vacation. And you know, we have a long holiday that's coming up. So for today's show, we have 3 really good topics for you guys. Firstly, the UAE's crackdown on illegal money transfers. Hawala specifically is working. Sorry, I'm hungry.
No problem.
I'm fasting.
She's thinking about fixed desserts.
And secondly, UAE and Saudi companies are using long-term salary bonuses to attract more CEO talent. And finally, this one's really interesting. Dubai's Emirates NBD and BlackRock, the asset titan, are basically going to bring more private market investments to Emirates NBD's rich clients.
So stay with us till the end of the show to learn more about Almarai and how they used vertical integration to increase profits and streamline processes. We also talked about Majid al-Futam and vertical integration. So today's topic is mainly about Almarai. Very first story, UAE's crackdown on illegal money transfers, Hawala, is working. Tougher UAE regulations on Hawala transactions are starting to show results with a decline in money transfers through unofficial channels. According to industry experts, the crackdown combined with more stable exchange rates for the Pakistani rupee specifically and the Egyptian pound has significantly reduced the flow of parallel market remittances. Mohammed Bitar, Deputy CEO of Al Ansari Financial Services, told Gulf News that major remittance receiving countries are seeing fewer Hawala transactions. He also noted that a major factor was the reduced gap between official exchange rates and Hawala rates, particularly for the Pakistani rupee, which saw the gap shrink from 9% to its peak to around 1.5% now.
Now, the UAE Central Bank has made it very clear. No one can engage in Hawala activities without an official Hawala provider certificate. Now, authorities have stepped up enforcement efforts, ensuring greater compliance from businesses and individuals. Now, during the peak of currency volatility, many preferred Hawala due to lower fees and better rates. Now, with tighter controls and reduced currency fluctuations, the incentive for using unofficial channels is decreasing.
Another factor reducing Hawala reliance in the UAE is the UAE's wage protection system, or WPS. With nearly 7 million private sector employees, remittance firms are encouraging more workers to open salary accounts, offering additional financial services and competitive remittance rates. Industry experts say banks often do not cater to low-income workers, making WPS accounts a strong alternative. These accounts also offer benefits like salary-backed lending and lower remittance costs.
Now, authorities continue to emphasize that using Hawala is not only risky, it is outright illegal. Now, as enforcement strengthens, formal remittance channels are becoming the preferred choice for expatriates in the UAE.
And people are sending money through legal channels now easier because it's the same as Hawala. So why go the illegal route? It's better to go through the legal route. And there was this mention of WPS. It's a very interesting thing. I learned about it at one of my jobs, that if a company has, for example, 10 employees, and if they don't pay the salary of more than 60% by the end of the month, they get their ratings down. So every time a company doesn't pay people on time, they get their ratings down, and their visa process fee for employees, they get expensive. So they get dropped down to visa category as well. So it's problematic for companies. So it's kind of like enforcing the companies to pay people on time. It's like a very nice circle which they use to stop Hawala, pay people on time, and the companies who are not doing it, fine them by making their visa process fee.
Do you know how much the fine is, Magic?
It's not fine. It's kind of like an alternative fine, because usually when in your category 1 or the best category for applying for outside workers visa, for example, you get a labor card, I get a labor card, and we get visas as well. The visa fee goes to around 500 to 600 for the top category. But category 2, it goes up to 1800. And if you're in category 3, because you're not following a lot of rules that the UAE has in place, it can go up to, I think, 36 or 3700. So that way you get fined in form of visa fee, increased visa fee. So everyone tries to keep their category higher, so they pay less for visa and all the labor card and all the processes. So it's very interesting, the whole thing. We'll do something about it someday.
And speaking of going higher, the UAE and Saudi companies are basically using long-term salary bonuses to actually attract higher CEO talent.
Yes. Companies in the UAE and Saudi Arabia specifically are increasingly using long-term incentive plans or LTIs to attract and retain top executive talent. A new report from recruitment consultancy Cooper Fitch reveals that 56.5%, more than half of Saudi CEOs receive LTIs, compared to 35%, that's like 35% in the UAE. In Saudi Arabia, 18% of CEOs receive LTIs equivalent to 9 to 12 months' salary, while in the UAE, LTIs are less common, with only 14% receiving between 1 and 6 months' salary. So the report suggests that UAE firms still rely more on short-term bonuses for CEOs.
Now, LTIs are typically awarded over 3 to 5 years and can include cash bonuses, shares, options, or profit sharing. Now, according to Jack Khabaz, managing partner at Cooper Fitch, these incentives help retain leaders, drive business results, and increase profitability. And he added that Saudi firms tend to offer higher LTIs due to restructuring, transformation, and expansion efforts. Now, in contrast, private sector companies in the UAE offer lower LTIs, though publicly listed firms provide between 12 to 24 months' salary.
The report highlights that 83% of CEOs in the Gulf expect a performance-related payout this year, which is 2025. However, fewer executives are seeing year-on-year increases, with 46% reporting a higher bonus, down from 56% in 2024. In Saudi Arabia, higher value bonuses of 9 to 12 month salaries are more common. Meanwhile, in the UAE, 43.3% of CEOs receive bonuses equivalent to just 1 to 3 months' salary.
Now, recruitment and retention of top executives remain key challenges alongside geopolitical and economic pressures. Now, the report also shows a trend of UAE firms hiring externally for leadership roles, while Saudi companies are more likely to promote internal candidates, especially chief operating officers. What do you think about that, Majid? What do you think about hiring internally? Like when there's a role to fill, do you think a company should look for, someone external? So someone from the outside, just get someone completely new in, train them? Or do you think it should be someone internally from the actual company?
The only example that comes to my mind is one of my friends. He has worked for he started working for Souk.com in around 2011. And when Souk got acquired in Amazon, like one of the top companies in the world, Bezos is like the second richest person or third richest person in the world, that company promoted all the Souk employees to higher positions. So internally, they're doing it. Likewise, Noon internally, the places I know about, like I know friends who work there. There's another friend of mine in Saudi who works for Saudi Post. He also got promoted internally. So I think internally works for bigger companies. I think their logic is that that person understands the environment, the working structures. They know who is reporting to whom. They know the fine, small details of the company and how it works. So it's better to promote internally. Sometimes I think, but for like very high level jobs like CEOs, I don't read in the report that COOs are becoming CEOs very likely. But I think for CEO level position, you always hire externally. That's the general trend. It's not my opinion, it's the general trend. Because we've seen recent examples, Starbucks CEO got fired, the Indian guy, Ramaswamy, and then Brian Nickel came in, Chipotle guy, direct placement, no one was brought from down and up. So any person that we see coming on top in the bigger positions, I've seen the trend is generally from outside. Lower middle management positions, usually they get promoted higher. I think internally works better.
I think internally works better too, in the sense of that think of it like this. You have a lot of employees. They've been there for years. And then you just bring someone else who hasn't even built a history with the company and you give them a higher role. I feel like that can definitely lead to some bitterness there.
Yeah.
But you know what I also think it is, though, with hiring internally? Promoting internally, that maybe that's why certain companies don't do it. I think it's the fact that if you're going to promote someone internally from your actual company, they're not going to agree to be promoted unless you pay them more, right? You might actually be able to source someone from somewhere else, give them that higher role, and actually give them the same pay that a junior gets.
Yeah.
Some companies do that.
There's this smartness about it. There's a opinion.
I don't think it's smartness. It's just cost cutting.
I'll tell you what the smartness is about internal promotions. There was a Bloomberg opinion I read very long time ago, around the time when new Starbucks CEO came. And I remember this part from it, that internally, usually when you put someone in a higher position, you promote them, you have to pay them less. And for example, if someone is getting 10,000 at some position and you promote them to one step up, you give them 13, 14, maximum maybe 15,000 in the UAE if you're talking about UAE. But if you hire someone from outside in that position, that person is already earning 15. So they'll expect 18 to 20,000, right? And whoever you hire after them to replace that middle management or smaller position, that person will come at 10. So somehow you save 2 to 3,000 in this process. But your point is right, that there is bitterness when you hire externally, because that person, whenever someone joins a new company, it's like a start from zero, because you understand the company environment, the company structures, the company hierarchy. You have to understand literally everything. Of course,
and it's like,
and during that teaching process, your juniors are like, why are we teaching this guy? This guy is supposed to manage everything.
Exactly.
So for that period, there is this animosity, I think,
Probably.
or you can say competitive infighting happening, that, oh, I should have been promoted.
Majid, you know what's also actually really interesting, just like on the topics of CEO and specifically in Saudi Arabia, is that last year, I remember we covered this topic about how the CEO of the NEOM project, now worth $9 trillion, I believe his name was Nadmi Al-Nasr.
Yeah.
So basically, he stepped down, and actually the new person that they brought in, his name is Iman Al-Mudaffar, and he was named as the NEOM's acting CEO. And you know where he actually came from?
Internal hiring, I remember.
He was the head of Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund, local real estate division since 2018. While that isn't I would not call that exactly internal. He wasn't a part of the NEOM team, but they definitely know each other. They definitely...
No, he was part of internal team, because NEOM is 100% PIF's project, and PIF, he was handling the real estate division under which NEOM comes. So PIF, yesterday we talked about it, they're like a conglomerate or like a big spread of like 100 plus companies, and real estate division is like a division they made for all the companies which come under real estate. So he used to head that, and very interestingly, they promoted him, but they still haven't made him the CEO. He's still the acting CEO, and they're looking for a person who can come in. So this was a very nice mix, right?
You know what, honestly, there are two things that are popping up in my mind right now. It's either they feel like, this is a really big project, because we've seen it. It's now worth $9 trillion to build, and they're just trying to tread carefully, and they're just trying to test him out. Or it could be the fact that he's like, you know what, this is a $9 trillion project that Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman really wants to see become such a success. I do not want to take responsibility for this. It can either be both of those perspectives.
It's a very big responsibility. You're 100% right that even with Nadmi Al-Nasr, I remember when the story broke, everyone was saying that he under-delivered on a lot of things, and apparently the Crown Prince was not happy with his performance, and that is why he stepped down.
That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, when you come on as the CEO, whoever comes on, and if the acting one becomes the CEO, you have to realize you carry the burden or the expectations of a whole nation and a whole region as well. Because everyone from the West, from outside of Middle East or outside of Saudi Arabia,
wants this to fail. It's not even expects this to fail.
They're looking at it.
They want it to fail.
And then you have to deliver everything. So it's going to be very difficult.
Like,
right?
Majid, they're coming up with like a billion excuses. I remember I read this term, sports washing.
Sports washing, there's greenwashing.
Yeah, basically they come up with these, basically what they're saying is that Saudi Arabia's coming up with these elaborate plans
Yeah.
just so they could hide some sort of injustice that's
Yeah.
going on, when that's not the case at all.
Yeah.
It's just a country that's developing and that is bringing more to its
Remember
market.
the video that we put up of Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, His Royal Highness, that let them call it whatever they want. If they want to call it sports washing, and if that specific thing adds 1% or 1.5% to my GDP, I don't care. Call it whatever you want.
We're gonna
That
prove them
thing,
wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that thing is adding to my GDP. I don't care. So yeah, that's the attitude, and that's a very good attitude to be honest. And that is actually the attitude you need to build something great. And we'll see. Most probably, when NEOM completes, it will take a lot of time. It's not like a small project. We talked about it yesterday. Generational project, and will create generational wealth.
But
and these things are not easy to build.
I also see why people are slightly concerned, because I remember that I read this report on Al Arabiya Majid, and basically what it was saying is that they want to host the World Cup in the line.
Yeah.
They're
There is
basically-
one stadium which will
Yeah.
be in NEOM, in the line, I guess, or
And
I don't exactly remember.
I think
where.
that's why the pressure is really building,
Yeah.
because of the fact that it's not just a stadium anymore that needs to be
Yeah.
ready for the World Cup to take place. It's an entire new city that's worth
Yeah.
$9 trillion that needs to be ready
Yeah.
for the World Cup to take
Yeah,
place. So
the stadium
I see
is
why
in
there's a lot
the
of
line, yes.
Yeah.
And they have to elevate it to a level. I remember again, one of the reports, the 9 trillion report, the WSJ report that we are talking about. They said the problem of elevation of that stadium is one of the biggest problems right now. That how will you need sand for a stadium, right? You need ground level. But they have to build a very elevated platform where then you need the soil and everything. So it's going to be complicated, but they have the best engineers at their disposal right now with the money they have.
You know what I'm also kind of thinking about, Majid? It's the Egyptian pyramids. When you
Yeah.
take a look at them, people would always think how'd they build
Yeah,
that?
there's
you know?
100 theories
And at that
aliens
time-
built it.
right? And at that time, you have to keep in mind they didn't have artificial intelligence.
They didn't have anything.
They didn't have technology,
Yeah.
and they, the pyramids, they came alive.
Yeah.
And so I am very hopeful about
Yeah.
NEOM. I think that it's off to a really great start.
I think even if it doesn't deliver 100% of it, with these giant mega giga projects, even if they deliver 50 to 60% of it, it's a win for everyone, not for Saudi Arabia only. Obviously, it's in Saudi Arabia, it's part of the Saudi Vision 2030. But the world needs to understand that such giga project, even if they deliver 50, 60% of it, that's a win. And that sets the precedent for further development in other countries
You
as
want
well.
the entire world to look like NEOM? Wait, be serious.
It looks
you actually,
good. It looks
No,
good
no,
on paper.
by the way,
Sindala is beautiful, by the way, but yeah.
I think it looks good too, but I
Yeah.
would not want to live somewhere where I feel like I'm living in a techno world. Does
Oh,
that
yeah.
make sense? I want to feel like I'm down to earth. I'm in a normal cottage.
So you want nature.
I want it. It is nature though. It is
Yeah.
NEOM is nature. It just feels so how do I explain this, Majid? It's out of a dream.
Yeah.
It's out of the entire sector of realism, and that's why I just, as a human being, I don't think I would be grounded if I lived there. So would you actually
But
want the
you'll
whole
need a
world
lot of
look
money
like
to live
it?
there. That's the problem with.
Oh, you know what?
They're very
Good point.
expensive. Yeah.
Good point.
If whoever lives there will have a lot
I feel
of
like
money.
Elon Musk would want to live there.
So yes, let's move on to, since we're talking about rich people and a lot of money, Dubai's Emirates NBD and BlackRock have partnered. So Dubai Emirates NBD Bank and BlackRock are bringing private market investments to its wealth management clients. And wealth management clients, in very simple words, are the rich people who have their accounts in Emirates NBD. So they have partnered with global asset management giant BlackRock, which is nearly $13 trillion in assets under management
Crazy.
at the moment. Biggest asset manager in the world. And they will offer wealth management clients of Emirates NBD access to private markets. The bank announced on Tuesday that both firms signed an MOU to establish an investment platform focusing on private credit and multi-alternative investments in the UAE.
Now, private markets, which include equity and credit investments, are less liquid, but often offer higher returns compared to publicly traded securities. Now, global demand for such investments has been rising as investors really seek diversifying amid slowing capital markets.
And BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, has been expanding its private market offerings, investing around $28 billion in 2024 to strengthen its presence in this space.
Now, through this partnership, Emirates NBD asset management clients will gain access to BlackRock's alternative investment platform, which currently manages over $450 billion in assets. Now, this move reflects a growing trend among investors in the UAE to explore alternative asset classes for better returns.
And very simple words, the rich people, they use their money to invest somewhere and get return on their money. But now they have more options because BlackRock will help them invest in private markets as well. The only complicated part in this is that what is private markets? The private market is apart from stock markets. They are alternate investments. Alternate meaning they're not the conventional system of investing where you get like something out of if the stock goes up or down. The problem with private market investment is the higher the risk, the better the profit. So they're not liquid. You can't sell them very easily like you can just sell stocks when you're doing stocks on the stock market. But you can't sell private investment very easily. So they're not liquid very easily, but they give you a higher return.
But
So
Majid,
that is why people want more money out of their money.
You know what I'm also seeing this as, though, because just last year we saw how BlackRock officially acquired a license in Abu Dhabi to open its headquarters there for the first time in the UAE, and now it's here partnering with Emirates NBD. I really just see this as BlackRock expanding their footprint. You know, they didn't wait; they're already jumping into it, and it's crazy how like just last week the CEO of BlackRock, Larry Fink, was meeting with His Highness Sheikh Tahnoon in Washington. So you really have to wonder what more is BlackRock going to do in the UAE.
In the UAE and across the region, they already have an office in DIFC, by the way. So Abu Dhabi is the first entry for them. But yeah, BlackRock, whenever BlackRock goes somewhere, you follow them because they know there is potential in that region. That's the cliche everyone goes by. But let's see, when the idea is that they're making an investment platform. They haven't named it yet. We will soon know a name. At FII, the last FII that happened last year, they announced something similar with PIF as well. So that was PIF and BlackRock making an investment platform. So PIF and their subsidiaries will be able to go into private market. But here they've partnered with a bank. So that's the only difference. But what they're doing is basically giving access to extra earning markets for people who have the money. That's as simple as I can make it. But yeah, let's talk about Almarai today and how they do it. And they used vertical integration. So Almarai is a leading dairy company in Saudi Arabia. They have effectively applied the business theory of vertical integration to strengthen its market position. Vertical integration involves a company's ownership and control over multiple stages of production or distribution within the same industry, aiming to reduce costs and improve efficiency.
Founded in 1977, Almarai initially operated with a decentralized structure relying on multiple small dairy farms and processing plants across Saudi Arabia. Now, recognizing inefficiencies in this model, the company restructured in the early 1990s, consolidating its operations into a centralized system. Now, this transformation involved replacing 5 decentralized processing plants with a central processing facility and consolidating 10 small dairy farms into 4 large-scale farms located in Al-Kharj.
And by integrating various stages of its supply chain, from raw milk production to processing and distribution, Almarai gained greater control over product quality and supply consistency. This strategic move reduced operational redundancies and enhanced efficiency, enabling the company to meet growing consumer demand more effectively. The vertical integration approach has been pivotal in Almarai's evolution into a dominant player in the Middle Eastern dairy industry. You go to any shop in the UAE, in Saudi, wherever, you will always find Almarai products.
Imagine, you know, if you actually go on their website, they have 195,000 cows. 195,000 cows, and I think for me, Almarai, it's such a good, sweet story because of the fact that it was a Saudi prince recognizing
Yeah,
that,
you told me
okay,
that, right?
yeah, it was a Saudi prince recognizing that,
Yeah.
okay, we can't keep relying on receiving imports from the outside to get our daily necessities. We need to have our own market. So what they did is they actually set the precedent for, Arab countries, trading these goods with each other. And it's, I remember when I was a kid, I'd always take the Almarai box and I would look behind it and it says Saudi. And I would see that similarly in a lot of products, by the way, in Union Corporation. Jamia. We call it Jamia. A lot of them that I just pick up, like milk products, it says Saudi Arabia. So, and I think it's even more interesting than that because I remember there was this one time, Majid, we covered a story and it was about how Saudi Arabia is like building this, it was like this city, this harvest city where they're basically trying to like just produce basically the best meat, best milk in the world. Remember that story? And
We took it from EGBI. It was a very nice story. I remember it's poultry and all these things combined, and they're trying to build a whole city. The idea is that they don't want to go out again. So they want more cows, I guess, and more chicken and more eggs locally.
And for me, with the entire story, it resonates in the sense of I have never seen a nation which has diversified as well as Saudi Arabia has, because we're seeing that it's not just in the food industry. We're also seeing that it's in the sports industry. It's also in the car industry. Like just like yesterday, it was announced that Tesla it's officially launching in Saudi Arabia on April 10th. And so in every single industry, they're either dominating or they're just trying to dominate completely at some point in time.
The thing is, Saudi Arabia understood and is understanding and will keep understanding this fact that locally producing everything that they need is the name of the game for them. The more they export stuff from outside, the more UAE exports, the more the whole Middle East, whichever things we export from outside, the prices are up. So at the consumer level, exporting is not good as well, because whatever you buy as an export has some tax, something on it, and the price is up. But the original actual price of that thing is not that much. So locally producing that, you give the quality at a better price. So that is why Saudi is doing it, UAE is also doing it. There's a lot of hydroponic farming happening in the UAE and in Saudi as well. We do a lot of story about this guy, Better Harvest something. Completely forgotten name. I don't know what's happening to me. I think it's Ramadan getting to me. But yeah, Pure Harvest. Pure Harvest, they do hydroponic farming, they grow their own tomatoes and all that. So yeah, these companies, they're setting up in this region because they understand that this region needs their own production. They don't need to export literally everything. So yeah, good move. That's it for Smashi Business Show today. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to follow us on all social media platforms. You'll find us as Smashi Business everywhere.
And I really do hope that you guys make the most out of Ramadan.
Yeah.
It is ending soon. They say the last 10 days are special. And don't forget, we have a daily business newsletter packed with the latest news and trends and deep dives. You can subscribe to it using the link in the description.
The Smashi Business Show is a Smashi Business production, part of the Augustus Media Podcast Network. We're proud to have 1.5 million monthly listeners across all platforms. And if you're one of them, a huge thank you for being part of our journey. Take care. Have a great day. Bye-bye.